It is a huge week this week. Will it be the last week of Julia Gillard's Prime Ministership? Well, a lot of that's going to have to come down to the media laws. A lot of that will also ultimately come down to Julia Gillard. But before we get lost in that conversation, there was an announcement. And it was a pretty positive one from the Prime Minister, in my view. It came out today and it was about childcare. But that's about where my praise will end. It's a positive hint of a policy, but it's not actually a serious policy. The Prime Minister made an announcement today that there will be 500 people in 50 locations around the country who will be offered something that is a better form of childcare, particularly for people who are shift workers. For some places it will be giving them money so that the doors stay open of the childcare centre for 24-hour care. For others it will be open earlier, open later. This is a good idea. But after 5 years of a government and 3 years since the last election, the Prime Minister should have done a whole lot better than this, a whole lot earlier than this. I've said it before, if you can nail a serious policy on small business and if you can nail the issue of childcare, no matter which political party you are, you will be in the box seat at this election. Julia Gillard's people seem to have taken that advice of it's time to do something about childcare and tried to work out what's the way to make the most amount of noise without actually having to do anything. Now that's the stuff that you do when you're in the middle of an election fight, not in the middle of governing. And also, how long before this scheme, this pilot program, remember, 500 people, 50 locations, becomes like the NDIS and people stop referring to the pilot bit, the trial bit, and it'll just be, I'm the Prime Minister who wants an NBN that hasn't been built any more than a couple of 100,000 homes. I'm the Prime Minister who wants a national disability insurance scheme that's only a trial in a couple of states. And now I'm the Prime Minister who wants 24-hour childcare for 500 people in 50 locations. Now, what will be interesting here as well is not just how the Prime Minister will just start saying, I'm pro-NBN, I'm pro the NDIS and I'm pro extended childcare hours, but it'll be interesting to see how often the media or the opposition pulls the Prime Minister up on this. Every time this issue gets debated, I want you to remember there is a giant asterisk that is next to this policy. And it is not extra childcare for millions of other people. It's extra childcare, maybe, for 500 people in 50 locations. They're the real numbers. And that's the stuff that you do when you are not serious about an issue. You just want to look like you're doing something about the issue. This isn't a bad idea. I support the idea of more childcare. But this should have been done at least 5 years ago, let alone 5 minutes ago. This should have been done a long time ago. This Prime Minister has no excuse why it hasn't been done a long time ago. And I hope whoever the Prime Minister is next week will understand you've got to do a whole lot better than just an announcement for the Sunday papers. Oh, and by the way, the childcare industry, not consulted about the decision whatsoever. This was a thought bubble from the Prime Minister's press office and nothing more.